timer running on this?
Yep, it should be, right?
Okay, perfect.
What about these?
Another minute?
We can use one of these for each.
Yes.
Because they are steady.
Okay, so we got 3 more rounds. So.
Things have changed a lot throughout the pandemic. Not necessarily in the way that I prepare, but in the places that I'm preparing and the tools that I'm using.
One-sided?
Yeah.
And then 3, and then 3.
Yep.
And like, am I catching?
I will throw some things at you.
One of the things that I did to adapt this year was converting my garage to a gym. And one of the key things about that was making it really a high-performance environment where I felt I could do my job the way that I want to.
We use a lot of different drills. We use a lot of different balance training strategies, whether she's on an indo board or a Swiss ball, whether she's got her eyes closed or eyes open and she's catching different objects that are coming from different directions, but basically trying to challenge her balance system, challenge her proprioception, and force her to focus on an activity and only that activity, and get her working on focus, control, and balance in different ways throughout the session. So if we can blend some like high power output movements with some more stability-based and engaged movements, we typically will do that throughout a session. Every day that she's been in the gym has been really dialed in, and she's had an excellent off-season. And there's a lot that you can do in the gym from a strength and conditioning perspective that can apply directly into just well-rounded athleticism that translates into being more capable on the bike.
My training has remained pretty similar in many ways over the years, but it also changes slightly every year. For me, I think it's important to keep those big things that are working for you the same, but it's also important to be able to evolve. And so that involves having a great team around you that is able to understand what might give you an edge in performance, and then also still help you maintain those things that are most important and most critical to helping you be your best athlete.
That was fun.
Hi. You don't want to go in.
I think when you're in a race or training, there comes a moment when you hit an edge and everything is kind of screaming at you to slow down or stop. For me, cold therapy and cold exposure is something that allows me to train that edge and to realize that I'm really in control of my body and that I can control some of these reflexes or reactions. For example, when you get in cold water, you often have that gasp reflex and you kind of have this feeling of panic. And I think that's very similar to what happens when you're pushing really, really hard in a race. I think recovery is the game for me. I do a lot of different things, but I am able to really see how those things actually impact recovery. I think people underestimate the role of consistency in performance. So for me, laying the foundation and really getting those kind of base miles in, the base strength in the gym, is less about doing something insane on one day and is more about consistently checking those boxes, hitting my marks, and building the engine that I will need to carry me through the season.